Hello students, I want to give you a tutorial for the citefast.com website that we talked about in class. This is a great resource for you to check your citations after you write them. And it also gives you lots of different options to easily organize your citations. The first thing when you come to this website that's very important is for you to go and click on MLA because that's the format that we're going to be using. If you're in a different class that uses APA, some classes here at College of the Desert do use that. You can also use this site by clicking on APA to complete your citations. So we're going to do two different kinds of citations, the most common that you're going to use and the ones you've asked me about the most. That would be a web page or a journal article. So let's start with a web page. I want to show you first the web page that we have. A lot of people have been working on their social media paragraph, and we've talked about social media and the effect that it can have on our mental well-being. So let's say you found this article and you saw something in here that you wanted to cite. Maybe this quote right here, a new study concludes there is a link between social media and negative effects on our well-being. So you want to use that in your paragraph, and you know that you need to cite this website. So the first thing you need to do on our citation generator is go to web page, because that's what you're going to use, a web page. And it's really important here to do manual entry. That way it gives you the option to put in as much information as you can find about this article. So the first thing we're going to do is just copy and paste the article, write the name of the title would be the article title, right into this screen. Then we're going to go and see, do we have an author? Sometimes on .org and .com sites, there'll be an article where there's not an author. On this one that I chose, we happen to have an author over here. I'm going to take this person's last name and fill that in first here. And the first name right here, copy and paste that here. So we know that we accessed this article today, and today is April 12th of 2019. The URL for this article would be up here. We can copy and paste in the URL here. We also know that the site title, if we go back and look, is healthline.com. We can add that. Remember, in our citations, our goal is to have as much information as we can that we know is accurate. We sometimes don't have a date when we look at these kind of articles, but in this case, we do know when it was written, December 9th of 2018. So this would be December 9th, would be here, and 2018. This is a good reference. It's up to date. And that's pretty much all we know about it. This would only be if there was a publisher that was different from the name of the website, and that's not the case. So now we're going to say Save Citation. So if you look over here where you saved it, you'll see in your Works Cited, here is your first citation. It's correctly done, ready to go. You also, as we talked about in class, should create an account so that when you do this, you can log in and you can save your citations. So let's do the next one, which is going to be a journal article. So for our journal, we want to do the same thing. We want to do a manual entry so we can put in as much information as possible. And what we need is the article title. And we found one here on eric.ed.gov about social media and loneliness. And let's say we wanted to quote something that was listed on page 10. Let's say we found something here, you wanted to quote it, or you found some statistics that you wanted to use. So you want to cite from page 10. So you want to go back to your citation generator. You want to give the page number. You want to put in the article title. And we want to look for, over here, what journal are we looking at? This one is Higher Education Studies. That's the journal name. So we can fill that in. And then let's see in this journal if there's a volume number, and there is. And then there's a number that exists within volume. So 9 and 2 of 2019. So we've got 9, and that's like issue 2. And this is 2019 for date access. We want to have that, today's date. We looked at this. Our database was eric.ed.gov. We do, let's see, we do have a URL for this article that we can copy and paste into our citation. And the date published, we need to look and see where we can find that. Our date published, okay, we see 2019, we see who published it, and we see received, accepted, published on February 20th of 2019. So we can fill in that information. As I said before, just important to put as much information as we can. In this situation, if you notice, we have 3 authors. We need to make sure we include all those authors in our citation. So the last name of the first person is Yavich, I believe. So we're going to put that person's name in, and the first name is Roman. And then I'm going to say I want to add an author because we have more than one. So let's go back and look at our second author. Let's copy and paste in Nitza's last name, Nitza. And we've got one more author that we should add. Zeev Frankel. And let's put in his last name, and it's Zeev. And so now we have all of our authors. We are looking at an online document. We've filled in all this information, so we're ready to save our citation. So over here, you'll notice in our Works Cited that we now have 2 citations. They've automatically been alphabetized. We also have an in-text citations guide that can tell us how we cite and give us some ideas and reminders about that for our in-text citations. But right now we want to copy and paste. And as you see, when you do that and you select all, and then you can select all, and then copy, and then you can paste your Works Cited right into your last page following your document. Notice that they are properly formatted and alphabetized. And that's it. As I said, be sure to create an account so then you could save your citations with the name of the essay that you're working on. And then you can add to them or refer to them at any time. You can remove a citation if you decide you don't want to use that source. But it keeps track of everything as you do your research so you can easily find it and generate your Works Cited page. So I hope that is helpful for all of you.